Ms. Goodell, call the roll, please.
Yes, Mr. Ankuma,
Yes.
Ms. Gill, Mr. Lawrence,
Here.
and Mr. Reitinger. Yes. Okay, thank you.
All right, now we're going to go into a short closed session. Do I have a motion?
Pursuant to the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, I move that the board convene a closed meeting for the following purpose: to discuss or consider the identified subject matter, personnel under Section 2.2-3711A1, in particular staff appointments, staff retirements, staff resignations, and dependent care leave.
Is there a second? Second. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, we'll be back in just a couple minutes. All right, can someone move to get us back into open session, please? Just say so moved.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, could someone certify the closed meeting?
Pursuant to the Virginia Freedom of Information Act.
Microphone. Here. He doesn't have it.
Okay.
Whereas the Falls Church Public School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to the affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3711B of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Falls Church City Public School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, or little I, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification applies, and little I, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Ms. Goodell, call the roll, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now, would everyone please stand and join us in the pledge? All right, now for public comment. Marty, do we have anything? Do we have anything that came in? Yeah, why not?
We had Christina New wrote to the school board about an update on the Mount Daniel project, support of a teacher survey, and questions about the Mount Daniel bond status. Keith Thurston from VPUS wrote about their appreciation for the school board's support of initial steps to expand the solar power production at Falls Church City Public Schools. The Economic Development Authority wrote with concerns regarding the current process underway for school campus redevelopment at George Mason and MEH. A group of parents from the gifted program ACE are in support of hiring an additional GT specialist to meet the needs of the gifted program. We had four families, Lori and Steve Clark, Kevin and Becky Creed, Stephen McKeon, and Brendan Ross, all wrote in support of the football program at George Mason High School. We had Jenny Bono, Melissa Dana, Lisa Allen, Mary Kelly, Shelley Scamra, Amy Talaferro, and Amanda Wolf all wrote to the board in support of a teacher survey. And we have Allison Kuchma wrote to the board with questions regarding the superintendent's line item budget under the special education program at MEH. And also she had budget questions regarding the recent work session packets from February 2nd and February 16th.
All right, thank you. I've got about 6 slips here. If anybody else wants to talk, fill one out. We'll start with Melissa Dana, and according to our rules, everyone has 3 minutes. Please state your name and address, please.
There we go. Oh, that's too loud. My name is Melissa Dana. I'm at 314 North Lee Street. My original speech was 10 minutes long. I promise you it has been cut down, but Gabby Abruzzi is going to finish my comments for me if I don't finish them. I'm here to ask the school board to please vote in favor of Mr. Reidinger's proposal to conduct an annual employee satisfaction survey. Your goal as a school board is to provide our children with a high-quality education, and I'm going to provide you with some research that demonstrates that in order to provide a high-quality learning environment for our children, we first have to provide a high-quality working climate for our teachers. And we may already have that, I don't know, but I think we need to assess it and find out. And the first reason is that student learning and achievement are actually linked to teacher job satisfaction, and this is well documented in the research. So there are specific working environment factors that have been proven to be predictive of student learning gains. There are also working climate factors, that are proven to be linked to achievement in math and reading. The second reason is teacher morale. So this has also been studied and has been shown to cascade into the classroom. So we need to make sure that we are creating the type of environment that is conducive to a great morale. The third reason is teacher hiring and retaining. We want to hire the highest quality, best teachers. And if that's the case, we need to make sure that we are creating the type of job that attracts those people to us and makes them want to stay. We should ask our teachers, what is it that makes you want to work in our school system? I want to emphasize what this survey is not. This is not a giant complaint session. It is not a way to place blame or point fingers or criticize. It has a very productive and positive purpose, actually two. One is to identify the things that we're already doing well, which are many, so that we can continue to do them. And the second thing is to identify any factors that might be negatively impacting our teachers' work climate, so that we can fix them. And this all culminates in our ability to take our great schools and make them even better for the sake of our children. The question has arisen from the board about teacher survey fatigue. I personally have spoken to 25 teachers who support it. PEAK, who represents all of our teachers, supports it. The FCCEA, who represents 63% of our teachers, supports it. There are also many community members and parents who would like to see a teacher satisfaction survey. So I ask you all to please vote in favor of it. Perfect.
Well done, well done. Next we have Dave Sikora.
Good evening, I'm Dave Sikora, the chair of PEAK, and I guess my address is Mount Daniel. I just wanted to take a brief moment to thank you for your ongoing work in creating a school budget that addresses both the needs of our diverse student population, as well as your continued commitment to improving salary and benefits for our talented and dedicated staff. This is of the utmost importance when recruiting and retaining the best teachers for our students. I would also like to thank the board for your commitment to increasing communication between school staff and yourselves. Teachers welcome the opportunity to be more involved in this budget process, as well as the chance to gain greater input in other aspects of the school board decision-making process. I thank all of the board members for their time and effort in reaching out to me and other teachers, and for meeting before, during, and after school hours in the past month. I thank you for adjusting your own schedules and for being flexible in rescheduling meetings during the snowstorm. I look forward to continued and open communication at all of our schools throughout the budget process and beyond. I would also like to say that PEAK fully supports a Falls Church City Public Schools climate survey created by an independent third party. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you. And next we have Jacob Radcliffe.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jacob Radcliffe. I live at 1307 Gibson Place in Falls Church. It's nice to see everyone again. I'm also speaking up in favor of a climate survey. A few things I'd like to say about it. I think the wisdom of tracking data for this kind of thing is going to be pretty obvious to all of the people sitting up here, and I don't need to sell that to you guys. But I have looked at some of our neighboring jurisdiction surveys, and I will tell you that some of them, which I can tell you about which ones in private, give such broad data in response to the survey that it's hardly usable in an actionable way at all. And I don't think that you would necessarily make that mistake, but in the procurement process, I think we need to look about what we need to do to make this a Falls Church City survey. Because whether or not people feel excited about coming to work could depend on what kind of coffee they have at home as much as what's going on in the school environment. And lastly, I'd just like to very quickly urge you to try to move forward on this quickly. It doesn't do us much good to go through a 6-month process to have a quality independent survey, to only begin doing it, a year from now or something like that. I think that this is something very narrow that we can get done. And I would also, in that process, urge you to not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. There are other aspects of evaluating our school district that are equally, if not more important. Student surveys, community surveys, parent surveys. These are all things that could be done, and in your wisdom and in due time, you may think of doing those things. But evaluating our employees has an independent, special significance on its own for teacher retention and all the other reasons the other speakers have mentioned. So please move forward on this proposal. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And next is Allison Kuchma.
Hi, Allison Kuchma, 813 Fulton Avenue. I wanted to speak to you about a couple of things this evening. The first thing, of course, I support the Teacher Climate Survey. I think that's critical to becoming a district that is the top in the nation, have a place that is a great place to work, and where you work is much more than what you are paid. It's part of that package, so that's really critical to retaining good teachers. The Special Education Committee had asked, and the staff had agreed to do a survey of special educators, and one of the reasons that was initially given by staff why they couldn't do it was that they indicated something that staff morale was low. And so that's alarming that they're aware of that and they would speak to that, and that's all the more reason why you would need to do a survey, because you certainly need to find out why. In terms of the budget, I've been going through the package. It's a lot of material, and I'm just concerned about some of the handouts and like to know some of the detail as it's tied to a line item. I mean, a Word document's interesting, but as it ties to a line item, would rather see the whole spreadsheet and have items highlight with backup, as opposed to then looking at this document, have to go find it in the budget. And there was one attachment, and I said this in my letter, there was some detail about request for half a secretary, but there was no value attached to it. So knowing that there's a request for half a secretary doesn't do us any good in terms of figuring out what you would trade for that, because there was no value. It was a whole page of items with virtually no values attached to them. So just like that filled out. And the last thing, I just want to say, Phil, I really appreciate your call at the very end of the meeting, I think on the 6th, where you called for a public meeting about Mount Daniel. I think that's really important. The community we've spent a lot of money on this construction project so far. $2 million is a lot of money. And we deserve to know answers. We need to know why it happened and how it happened and where all the money has gone. Someone just told me that the council was asking about the same thing, and not a meeting that's mostly behind closed doors where you guys work out what you're going to say when you come out, but a real, authentic, genuine exchange of information that's actually credible. And there's a lot that needs to be done to rebuild the trust in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, if you still have something, Gabriella Abruzzi.
I'm Gabriella Abruzzi, 1004 Parker Street. I've been here for, Jake's 18 years, And I just want to follow up on what Melissa Dana has written, and we spoke at length a number of times about this, and then I'll add a few more things. Again, it's about the survey. I think it's really important that you all consider moving forward on a climate survey. And this type of survey is not a novel idea. I know Arlington, Fairfax County, Alexandria, Montgomery County, and the entire state of North Carolina, as well as Maine, Massachusetts, Alabama, Illinois, and Kansas, West Virginia, and many other public schools districts around the nation already do this type of survey, an annual teacher satisfaction survey.